Stop trying to be interesting. Stop trying to build rapport. If your conversations are going nowhere, it's because you're following all the advice that makes you completely predictable. You offer compliments, ask questions, and search for common ground. And by doing that, you show your entire hand from the very first move. You become an open book, and an open book is read quickly, then put back on the shelf. But what if I told you the key to controlling any conversation and creating a deep, almost obsessive attraction isn't about what you say, but about what you don't say? Today, we're breaking down a controversial Machiavellian principle that flips the script on attraction, turning polite interest into a deep emotional investment. This isn't about being nice, it's about being powerful. It's about understanding the frame of reality and making damn sure it's always yours. Here's the flawed assumption most guys make. They think attraction is built with connection and validation. They believe that by showing interest, being available, and making a woman feel comfortable, they're winning her over. But what you're really doing is killing all the tension. You're solving the mystery before it even has a chance to hook her. Think about it. When you immediately text back, agree with everything she says, and lay out all your cards from the start, you're giving her all the information she needs. You've handed her the map to your entire personality. You leave no uncertainty for her to puzzle over, no space for her to wonder about you, and because of that, no reason for her to invest emotionally. A man who shows all his intentions is predictable, and a predictable man is easy to forget. What's easily gained is rarely valued. Your constant availability doesn't signal high value. It signals you have nothing better to do. You're not a challenge, you're a certainty, and certainty is the death of attraction. So, how do you flip this dynamic? With the single most powerful tool you have, strategic silence. Most people panic during a silent moment in a conversation. They see it as awkward, a void that has to be filled immediately. That's a huge mistake. Silence isn't emptiness, it's pressure. Master it, and silence becomes the invisible force that makes her hang on your next word. Here's how it works. After she finishes talking, don't jump in. Hold your ground, pause for 3, maybe 4 seconds. Maintain eye contact, maybe with a slight, unreadable smile. In those few seconds, her brain will scramble. She'll question what she just said. She'll wonder what you're thinking. She'll feel an overwhelming urge to fill that silence herself, and in the process, often reveal more than she ever planned to. That silence makes her feel a little exposed, and she will work to break that tension to get her footing back. And just like that, the power dynamic has shifted. You haven't said a word, but you're in total control. She's no longer just a passive listener. She's actively working for your approval, trying to figure you out. This is the first step in getting her emotionally invested. But there's a critical line here. Using silence to punish, control, or manipulate someone isn't strategy. It's the silent treatment. And that's a recognized form of emotional abuse that creates anxiety, fear, and distress. The goal here isn't to cause pain, but to break the predictable rhythm of conversation and create space for her to invest. Intent is the dividing line between influence and abuse. The next principle builds on the power of silence. Never explain yourself. Explanations are just a form of begging for approval. When you defend your choices, justify your opinions, or explain your actions, you're giving up your authority and putting the other person in the role of judge. The man who controls the frame doesn't need to justify his reality. If you're late, you don't launch into a rambling story about traffic. You arrive, centered and unapologetic. If you make a decision she questions, you don't get defensive. You simply own it as what you decided. This isn't about being rude. It's about showing that your actions are driven by your own compass, not by needing someone else's validation. Withholding explanations can create a powerful sense of intrigue. By leaving things unsaid, you force her to use her imagination to fill in the gaps. She'll replay the interaction in her head, trying to figure you out. The more mental real estate you occupy, the more she's invested. However, this is a razor's edge to walk. Intentionally withholding information is another well-known form of emotional abuse, designed to control and confuse another person. While over-explaining signals insecurity, refusing to engage in any honest communication destroys trust and is a hallmark of toxic relationships where a real connection is impossible. The predictable man shows his hand way too early. The powerful man never reveals all his intentions. Mystery isn't about playing games. It's about protecting your depth. When you meet a woman, your goal shouldn't be to convince her to like you. Your goal should be to make her curious. You do this by hiding your ultimate interest and instead creating moments of tension and release. This doesn't mean you lie. It means you use restraint. You don't shower her with compliments. Instead, you make precision observations. A generic compliment like, "You have beautiful eyes," is forgettable. A precision observation like, "You seem like the kind of person who is used to getting their way," is intriguing because it's a little challenging. It shows you're actually observing her, not just fawning over her. An observation like that can get stuck in her mind, making her feel seen in a way that's both unsettling and magnetic. But be warned, a so-called precision observation can easily be twisted into a tool for subtle gaslighting. Saying something like, "You seem to need a lot of certainty," can be a way to make someone doubt their own feelings and perception of reality. This is a huge red flag of manipulative dark psychology, where the goal is to destabilize the other person for your own gain. That's not building attraction, that's chipping away at their self-worth. So where does all this come from? Many people will point to Niccolo Machiavelli, the 16th century Italian diplomat. You might hear a saying that the ideal man needs neither love nor fear. That's a complete modern invention. Machiavelli's actual advice in his book The Prince was far colder and more practical. He argued that while a ruler would ideally want to be both loved and feared, it's very hard to be both. And if you have to choose only one, he wrote, it is much safer to be feared than loved. For Machiavelli, fear was a more reliable tool for control because the dread of punishment is a stronger motivator than the fickle nature of gratitude. While he warned leaders not to be hated, he saw fear as the key to maintaining order. When you understand the source, you strip away any romance from these tactics. They aren't about creating some magical connection. They're about leveraging human nature to get one thing: control. Let's be honest, these techniques can work. They can create intense, short-term results, make you the center of someone's world, and give you an intoxicating feeling of control. People who are high in Machiavellian traits are often charismatic and fantastic at making a strong first impression. But the psychological research is crystal clear about what happens next. Relationships built on these kinds of power dynamics are almost always defined by low satisfaction, zero trust, a lack of intimacy, and high levels of emotional abuse. High Machiavellianism is a dark triad personality trait linked directly to manipulative behavior and an inability to form deep, empathetic bonds. The very emotional distance that makes these tactics work is the same thing that makes any genuine, lasting connection impossible. Being controlled through tactics like the silent treatment or withholding information can cause serious psychological harm, leading to anxiety, depression, and a shattered sense of self. You may win control of the conversation, but you'll be building a relationship founded on fear and uncertainty. So the question you have to ask yourself isn't, Can I do this, but what is the price of this power? Control is a powerful drug. It can make you feel like the master of your own universe. But a king who rules an empire of one, built on fear and uncertainty, is really just a prisoner in his own castle. The choice isn't just about how you control a conversation. It's about what kind of reality you want to build. These principles can make you unforgettable. They create a space that someone feels an overwhelming need to fill. As the saying goes, you are not what she desires, you are what she could not complete. And what is never completed is never forgotten. But remember this, a puzzle that's been solved is admired and cherished. A puzzle where you've intentionally hidden the pieces just becomes frustrating, and eventually people throw it away. The real power isn't in the tactic itself, but in the wisdom to know when and if it should ever be used at all. If this video challenged your perspective, subscribe for more raw, unfiltered reality. Like the video and share your thoughts in the comments below.